The most beautiful people I've ever met could write novels about pain, but instead choose to live poems of hope. Raise your hand if last night you set your alarm clocks to wake you up this morning. Let me see those hands. Interesting. Isn't it amazing how, without any assurance of us being alive here today, we did that? That's hope. But what happens when you lose hope? What do? December 29th, 2016, I received a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, grab my phone, look at it, and recognize it was my auntie from California calling me. I answered the phone in a groggy tone. Hello? My auntie startled me. She said, "Scotty, your mom needs you." I'm confused. What do you mean my mom needs me? I just got done talking to her a couple hours ago. She told me she loved me and everything was gonna be all right. I promise. And she repeated herself. "Scotty, your mom needs you." I hang up the phone and I'm on the first available flight from Utah to California. As I get to California, I head straight to the hospital. As I'm walking inside the room, it felt like the four walls were closing in on me. And the rhythmic hissing of the ventilator just filled the room. And as I'm continuously taking steps towards my mother's bed, all I could think about was, not my mom. Can't be. And as I sat down in the chair next to her bed, I grabbed her hand, I crowded into both of mine, laid my head on her lap. And as I'm laying my head on her lap, I felt a hand just graze my shoulder. And I look up, and I noticed it was the doctor. And the doctor softly asked me, "Mr. Scott, can I speak with you outside for a moment?" I said, "Sure thing." So outside, it's my auntie, grandmother, doctor, and myself. And we're circled in like we're in a huddle. The doctor says you have two options. First option, you can leave her in the current state that she's in, where she's coherent, but she can't speak, and she'll be supported by the machine for the rest of her life. Or option number two, we can wait till the family arrives, and we can pull the plug. Take a moment, think about it. I'll be around the corner. And the doctor walks off. And I walk off too, because I wanted to get away from everyone. And I finally found a spot all to myself. And I sit down in the chair, elbows touching my quads, my fingers interlocked pressed against my chin. And I started contemplating on what to do. And the longer I sat there in that chair, the more angry I became. And I started to say things like, "How could you? You know how much my mom means to me." So not only did I lose hope in that moment, but I lost faith too. You see, my mother was a superhero to me. And just like many superheroes that we've encountered in our lives, we always know that through battles, challenges, opposition, adversity, that our superheroes will overcome. I saw my mother overcome many battles. Case in point, when I was first born, she had a stroke, led to a coma. The doctor told her she had 3 days to live. 3 days to live. She overcame. She was diagnosed with lupus, on dialysis for 20 years, received a new kidney. She overcame. So surely I knew she was going to overcome this too. And as I was sitting there in that chair, a flashback occurred to me when I was a little boy on this one late night. And through the thin walls of our 600 square foot apartment, I heard soft crying, muttering, and erratic breathing coming from the other side of my wall. Initially, I thought I was hearing things because it was late at night, and I just had woken up from a light sleep. So I get out of bed, I walk over to the wall, and I put my ear to it. And as I'm listening more in depth, her sobbing and her crying began to get more frequent and intensified to the point where my body just felt getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I eventually fall to the floor, face covered in tears, because I couldn't bear hear the other person on the other side continue to cry, because the other person on the other side was my mother. day in and day out, she doubted her ability to support me. And despite the pain that she felt when I heard her cry, I knew that was her way of dealing with her struggles and trying to cope with her illness. And so I asked my mom, and I finally got the courage. I asked her, Mom, are you okay? She said, I'm all right, baby. I was okay. And I knew she was lying. Because I heard her trying to get herself up. She was trying to hide her sniffles. And so I asked her again a little more firm. I said, Mom, are you okay? And in that response she gave me in that moment was the same exact response that she gave me a couple hours before my auntie called me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it sent chills down my spine. And it was at that moment where I knew the battle had already been fought. So it didn't matter which option that I chose, because like my mother told me, everything is going to be all right. I promise. So even though she's not here physically she's gone, but her energy and her presence and her spirit still lives on. And as I stand before you here today, as a person who lost hope and then regained it, you can too. Because the most beautiful people I've ever met could write novels about pain, but instead choose to live poems of hope. Thank you.